to listen to the Lapped Traffic Podcast.
What is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 278 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. I am your host, the Professor, Brandon Crowd. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Happy belated Mother's Day to everybody. And here we sit. 10 winners through 12 races. I love everything about that. Get into that here in just a little bit. Got a huge show for everybody. Kaulig Racing in the house tonight. Good to be back with a strong show. Let's put it that way. So a couple things. So sorry about last week. As I've mentioned, and I'll dive into it one more time here. I obviously have no intentions of hanging this thing up anytime soon. But with a 12-week-old newborn and getting adjusted with all that, Lindsay's back to work. I've obviously been back to work and just sometimes got to make sure I can give Mama a break and keep her happy and all of that, so that I can keep going strong with the show and all of that. So there's going to be a couple breaks here and there, but I'll be here, and I know I haven't been there on social media that much. This week was crazy. I'll just say that. But we're going to be promoting the hell out of this thing this week. We'll be on social media all week through next weekend, all that good stuff. I'm here. Things are slowing down a little bit. So, with that said, this past Friday, mother-in-law came over, babysat for a little bit, was able to take Lindsay downtown for a couple drinks. Saturday was cool, did some running around, couple stores, went to lunch with the little guy. And Sunday, first Mother's Day for Lindsay, did it upright, breakfast, flowers, gifts from Alden. I had the family over to celebrate and had a great time. Hope all the mothers out there had a great Mother's Day. Jeff Striegel, a couple weeks ago, he brought it, as Jeff always does, on his 20th appearance on the show. And here's the cool thing. All three drivers on the show tonight. I think that's around 15 appearances across them as well, which is pretty cool. Was supposed to have all four Kaulig drivers. We're going to be missing one on tonight's show, but we'll definitely be having him on down the road. Tonight, you are going to hear from Justin Haley, fresh off his third place finish. You're going to hear from Daniel Hemric and the legendary AJ Allmendinger. So going to space those out throughout the show. So stick around. Got some recaps from Darlington and all that good stuff. Neudorff will be on. Lucky Dog, lap down picks. And we are 1 week away. Kansas is going to shut down and close out season 1 of Lap Traffic Fantasy. So we're going to be restarting segment 2. If you want to get in, you can get in. And here's the thing. If you win segment 2, you can get in on points, and there's a good possibility if you kick ass for 13 straight weeks, you could even point your way in. So you want to come have some fun. It's all on the website. Send an email, fantasylaptraffic@gmail.com with your name, Twitter handle, and we'll get you in. You're hearing about it, so come play if you want to have some fun. It's free, and there's custom lap traffic trophies that get sent out at the end of the year. So come have a good time there. If you've dropped out, start sending some picks in. I'm logging it. If you said you wanted to play, you're on the sheet. So come join us. Join us, everyone. All right. There's a breakdown. Let's get things rolling. What do you say we get our defending Xfinity Series champ Daniel Hamrick on the line? Fun fact, this is Daniel's second appearance, and catch the end of the interview when it comes to the last time Daniel was on, because it's been a minute. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his second appearance on the show. He's got 3 top 5s this year. He is your defending Xfinity Series champion. He is the driver of the number 11 with Kaulig Racing. Welcome back to the show, Daniel Hamrick. Daniel, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. Hope you are. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Well, listen, first off, congrats on the championship last year. What a season. Make it to the Final Four. First win to come at Phoenix. How long did it take to get over that, or are you still floating on cloud 9?
No, definitely not on cloud nine anymore. But that was for sure, a Game 7 moment that was fun to go and be able to live that out the way it played out. For our entire group last year, for having so many near misses. Quite honestly, so many near misses in my career. Just be put in that situation for us to excel. That was pretty special. But all that stuff really doesn't mean anything once the green flag falls the following season, which that's what happened here at Daytona, in February with Kaulig Racing. And from that point on, you're working on the present and the future. And that's where our focus is now. We're trying to figure out how to continue to move the needle and push forward to be better.
That's a great perspective, man. I love it. Speaking of Kaulig, can you talk a little bit about how that all came to be?
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I actually, I had a prior relationship built with Chris Rice, who runs the show over here at Kaulig Racing, from my times at NTS Motorsports back in 2015, the Truck Series. He ran that program. So obviously him, Matt Kaulig, and the relationship and the race team they've built here within Kaulig Racing, they were kind of looking around trying to figure out which direction they wanted to go for 2022. And it's funny, and Chris is open to me telling the story because we've both kind of shared it with a laugh since this moment. But he called me a couple of times last year right in the middle of the season. And quite frankly, I just didn't call him back. I didn't want to deal with the standard question nowadays, which comes of, hey, what are you doing next year? How much funding can you bring? La da da da, and so on and so forth. And as a driver in a situation where last year I felt like was quite honestly probably my last opportunity and my last go at racing professionally in the NASCAR series, if something big didn't happen, I thought I was going to be out of the sport. And my point is, I didn't want to have those conversations. I wanted to just focus on the present last year and not talk about what was next, because I didn't know what that was. But after a sequence of events, I picked the phone up and said, man, I really need to call Chris. And I actually had some of his buddies text me like, hey, man, you really need to give Chris a call. And once I did, and himself and Matt Kaulig laid out, what their vision was for Kaulig Racing, not currently, but what it was 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. I realized I really wanted to be a part of that. And, it meant a lot for a race team to call and have the support of an owner. And as the president of our company here at Kaulig Racing and Chris Rice, to have that kind of belief in you and, to have that's all you can ask for as a driver. So it was cool to get that call and be able to work out a deal.
That's awesome, man. That's a cool story there. I really like that. Listeners are going to love that. With making the move, obviously adjustments, right, from teams, crew chiefs, all that kind of stuff. Talk about what, first 10 races of the year, growing pains and all that as far as the new team and all that.
Yeah, we definitely have more than we wanted to have. I can promise you that, growing pain wise. But it's just the reality of our sport, right? You hit on some things, whether it be for a couple of races or even sometimes you get a full season out of parts and pieces and things that you're doing that's improved performance. And from what I've gathered from my teammate AJ Allmendinger and quite frankly, what I remember some of these cars driving like 2017, 2018, my time at RCR, considering that's their alliance partner, we were just a little off. Without a doubt, my teammate AJ is doing a great job of maximizing days, but from a raw speed perspective, and once we get into the race, we feel like we've got to really push and find out what we're missing. I think for me personally, just trying to maximize the days, trying to help us, bring cars back that we can actually diagnose, look at, and build a notebook on. That's what we're having to do right now. And because of that, we're finding ourselves, sometimes trying too hard and sometimes in vulnerable spots. So we're just having to, like I said, just assess where we're at and try to make the most educated decisions we can to figure out what's next. Not for this particular weekend, but what do we need to start working on now to make us better in a month or 2 months down the road when you really got to be good.
Absolutely. I talked to AJ yesterday, and he said he loved the fact that you as a new teammate and the knowledge that you bring for having driven for a couple different teams, you can bring to Kaulig, the things that didn't work, and then you guys can piece those things together, and that'll hopefully help bring some of that speed and all that you guys are missing just to tick on there, and go trophy hunting.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and honestly, I've really enjoyed my teammates, with Landon Castle and AJ Allmendinger, and as well as Justin Haley on the Cup side. I feel like we have a very tight knit group. We can all lean on each other and take criticism for good and bad. And I think that will make us stronger in the long run. But like AJ said, I have drove for a lot of different race teams and a lot of different, components and parts and pieces. But I think there also comes a level of respecting each situation for what it is. And just because I ran this or that at one organization doesn't mean that's going to fly at a different one, considering different manufacturers and so on and so forth. So, we're trying to lean on all our past experience, but in the grand scheme of things, trying to figure out what's going to make Kaulig Racing's identity, better and faster and more competitive here as we move forward.
Absolutely. All right. You said you're standing by the hauler. You're at Darlington. It's a historic track. Tracks like Darlington, Bristol, Martinsville, such an amount of history there. When does it hit you? The nostalgia aspect at a track like that. Is it when you pull in, when you strap in? When does it hit you?
I'll tell you, it's funny. I'm not sure how everybody else studies, but for me, as soon as I book in on one race weekend on Sunday, I'm Monday I'm preparing and looking through notes and watching film, and that's actually when it starts to hit you, right? Because you can't help but as you're going through this stuff, pick up on signage and pick up on just the commentary of the races, and when you hear them talk about the history of these places, especially when you come to Darlington, it's really just kind of puts in perspective how special it is to have a chance to run anything around this place. So this weekend in particular, being here at Darlington, coming through the tunnel, that's probably the last big moment. When you come through the tunnel, they always do a great job of having, old historic moments of past big moments in our sport. They have them painted inside the tunnel with different drivers and different wins and different just big moments. So that's cool to see that as you're coming into the racetrack each time I come here, and to be able to come here and have a Xfinity car with a Circle sponsoring it and putting them in the show on Saturday, and then here on the Cup side having an AG1 Camaro, be able to run double duty is pretty special.
That's cool, man. That's awesome. Speaking of the Cup side, you AJ helping get things set up. You bring a ton of experience there as well. What's it like being back in the Cup garage, and how's the Cup side going for you guys?
Yeah, you cannot beat the feeling you get when you walk into a Cup garage, especially on Sundays. Man, these guys are ruthless, and to have been able to experience that in 2019 for a season, and honestly never thinking I'd have the chance to get back to this level. To have that opportunity from Matt Kaulig and Chris Rice, when I signed on to drive their Xfinity car, there was zero talk, honestly, of Cup racing. So to have the select chances I have this year at it, not only for myself, but to try to hopefully, build this program and continue to build it. That's what myself and AJ and everyone, kind of splitting time in this car are trying to do, just try to help us be better this week than we were the week before. But you cannot beat the feeling and the emotion you get when you walk into a Cup garage. It for sure is competing against the best there are in stock cars, on Sundays. And that's something, like I said, I never thought I'd get a chance to do, so I don't lose sight of that.
That's cool, man. It's funny you made the analogy there of nothing like being in a Cup garage on a Sunday. And even from a fan perspective, if they have like the hot passes or, from the media side of things, the few races that I get to go to, like being there on Friday in the Cup garage versus Sunday Cup garage, I mean, you can just feel that transition over that 3-day weekend thing, and you can feel the build and all of that. And Sunday, it's go time, the people, the energy. I can only imagine how much more intensifying that is on your side of things, knowing you're going to go drive the car that day too.
Yeah, it's all you can ever ask for, right? I mean, it's not only from the driver's side, but all the from the crew to just everyone that has a hand in what it takes to make this entire thing go around at the Cup level. I mean, it's an incredible uptick of everything when you go from the Xfinity garage or truck garage to the Cup garage. So yeah, thankful to have my chance to kind of dip my toe back in the water over here. So something I don't take lightly, and I look forward to how this program has progressed. I have not been in the Cup car here on a regular style racetrack, not being a super speedway in quite some time. I think actually since Vegas, what was that, race 3 or 4 of the season. So yeah, it's good to be back here. Look forward to going out here and hopefully continue to move the needle.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, I'll let you wrap with this one little fun fact. So this, as I mentioned at the start, it's your second time on the show. This is season 6 of the podcast, and this week is episode 278. Your first appearance was season 1, episode 36. 242 show gap between your first appearance and this one. Hopefully we don't have to wait another 242 shows to do it again, man.
Absolutely. I'm with you. That's an interesting stat there. But yeah, anytime, let me know when you want me on. I'll be here.
Appreciate you, man. Tell everyone where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty simple. Just my name at Daniel Hemric on Twitter, as well as Instagram and Facebook and all that good stuff. So unfortunately, I'm not the best at posting, but we're slowly but surely getting better content and trying to move the needle over there as well.
I love it, man. All right, man. Thanks so much for calling in. Best of luck this afternoon, and look forward to talking to you real soon, man.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate it.
Take care. We'll see you. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, there you have Daniel Hemric, guest number 1 of the evening from Kaulig Racing. All right, let's talk a little racing from Darlington, and then we'll get to Justin Haley here. All right, let's talk about the trucks for a minute here. I mean, John Hunter Nemechek finally picking up the win. We knew they were going to happen. It was just a matter of when. Took us 7 races before he picked up his first win. I mean, that's not a lot, but the fact that, we're 7 races, we're into May, I guess I just expected he was going to have 2 or 3 already. But hey, here it is. And I'm sure they're going to start rolling off now. But the one thing I want to talk about from the truck race was Parker Kligerman. Top 5. He's only missed 2 races. I know once the NBC side of things picks up, his appearances will probably be a little thinner. But this is a part-time team that puts together his trucks, and he's only 1 spot out of the playoffs with missing 2 races. Like, man, I mean, you got to figure, you add just some basic points for those other 2 races, and he's probably sitting 6th, 7th in the point standings and into the playoffs, and could probably go and make a little noise. And man, I wish we could rally behind and get Parker in the trucks for the rest of the season and see what he could do. Someone needs to get this boy a ride if, the whole broadcasting thing doesn't pan out for him with NBC. I mean, hell, he even picked up the first stage win of the night. I mean, got to give it to him. And huge shout out to Michigan native Carson Hocevar for his back-to-back P2 finishes. He's someone on a move as well, which is pretty awesome. The truck race, I mean, it was pretty good. Quite a bit of it was run under caution, which, will happen. I mean, it's Darlington. I mean, that's the racing that we know and love at Darlington. It's not quite Bristol. It's not quite Martinsville. It's somewhere in the middle there, which is fantastic. It's a great place to be. I was down there a couple years ago with Sherwin and Rusty from the old PETM podcast. And as you heard me ask Daniel about the nostalgia, I'm going to ask Justin that. I'm going to ask AJ that as well. It truly is a thing there. And it's something that from a fan perspective, when you step out into the dirt area, the campground area, I mean, it just feels old school, and I love everything about it. So definitely that was a bucket list one that I was able to mark off. It's been a minute. I trying to figure out a way to get to Martinsville from a time perspective. Got a couple days of vacation to play with, and we'll see if we can make that happen there. All right, let's talk about the Xfinity series. Justin Allgeier, I mean, dude had to go and start from the rear, change a battery during the pace laps, and goes out there, makes his way to the front, finishes 4th in stage 1, and just stays up front all day with a 3rd place finish in stage 2, and picks up the win, leading 76 laps. I mean, that's just focus. That's drive. That's veteran team. That's veteran driver. Because I would have to think. I mean, obviously, I've never strapped in, but I would have to think. Something goes wrong with the battery. Anything where you got to come back down pit road and change something. He should have started 3rd and came from the rear. And to not let that get to you. To not lose the mental game. And to go out there and just do what you do. is pretty remarkable. Justin Allgeier, Noah Gragson, two very popular picks in Lap Traffic Fantasy this week, both bringing in 55 points, which is crazy. Noah Gragson picking up the sweep in the stages, just came up one spot short there, finishing behind Justin Allgeier. Huge shout out, Landon Castle. He's on the move. He has finally made it into the top 12. He's in the playoffs. Again, something we've all wanted to see from Landon Castle, and they're doing it. They're getting it done, and cannot wait to get him on the show to complete the complete stable here of driver reps from Kaulig Racing. All right, let's talk a little Cup race, and we'll keep things moving along here. I'm gonna start from the back to the front here a little bit. Michael Mcdowell, 7th place finish. Obviously he's got his Daytona win. He's a super speedway guy. He's a road course guy. For McDowell to go out there and pick up a 7th place finish at Darlington, that's something else. That's getting it done right there. That's getting everything and more out of that 34 car at Darlington, which was really cool. It was a struggle out there for HMS and JGR, which means who was going to step up to the plate and pick up a couple extra spots there, either top 5 or top 10. Austin Dillon answered the call. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. answered the call. Justin Haley, who you're going to hear from in just a second, definitely answered the call. Kevin Harvick, Kevin's good at Darlington. We all know that. I think he won just about damn near 5 races, it felt like, in 2020 when they were going there every other week, it felt like. And you expected that out of Kevin Harvick. Still probably trying to get a handle on things, still looking for a win after going winless last year. They can keep repeating that. Maybe they'll sniff out victory lane this year. I'm hoping, as a biased Kevin Harvick fan. I need a new diecast to order. I haven't ordered a diecast in a minute. Need to order one. Let's see here. All right, let's first talk about Tyler Riddick. 2nd place finish yet again. He's got 5 second place finishes in his career, which, he hasn't been racing very long in a Cup Series. I think that's about 80 some starts there. He's got 4 top 5s already this year. Second place finish this season. I think he's got a top 3 in there somewhere early on. I keep saying it. I want this boy to get to victory lane because it's going to be awesome. And I say that partly because, he was a big supporter of the show early on. It was fun to watch his Xfinity career grow, and now getting to watch him from the Cup level is fun for me anyways. So I'm going to be very excited when he picks up that win there. So, all right, let's talk about Joey Logano, William Byron. For me, I'm going to be honest with y'all, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion, I think, and that is I am 100% okay with that move that Joey Logano put on him. He got right up to his bumper. He gave him a little nudge, and he only moved him out of the way. There were no other cars involved in that situation. Bump and run it. All of these things, it just happened to be at Darlington. If he does that and takes out, 30 cars, he does that 10 laps to go in the race, then maybe I've got some issues. But hey, he was able to get there and he moved him out of the way. And I for one, I'm okay with that. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. It's racing. He's probably got one coming back, which is going to make it even more fun to watch. Anytime we see Byron and Logano side by side on the track, to me, maybe we created a new rival. We created talk. We created everything. We didn't, they did, but, and I love it. And so that's where I'm at with that finish there. I'm good with it. So, all right. Let's let the professional talk about things. Let's talk to Justin Haley. Let's see how excited he is from his 3rd place finish this past weekend. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his fourth appearance on the Lap Traffic podcast. He is the driver, the number 31 for Kaulig Racing, and their first full-time Cup driver, leading the charge for the team with a third-place finish this past weekend at Darlington. Welcome back to the show, Justin Haley. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Definitely weren't lap traffic for majority of the day this weekend, so not sure where you came up with that name, but I don't appreciate it when my PR girl's like, "Hey, do you want to be on the Lap Traffic podcast?" I'm like, "The lapped traffic? I don't want to be lap traffic." So here I am anyway.
Oh, man, I love it. No, man, listen, fourth time on, I appreciate the support of you, and Carly's fantastic. Kaulig's great. You guys have been huge supporters of the show, and I always appreciate anyone's time, especially coming on an amateur podcast. So I truly appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem.
All right, man. Well, let's dive right in. Let's talk about it, man. Started 29th on the grid yesterday and brought it home third. Talk about the paint scheme, driving through the field, all that good stuff that we come to know and love with Darlington.
Yeah, obviously it was a long day and we didn't qualify like we wanted to, but throughout it all, we just kept digging and finding our pace and figuring out what worked for us, and through it all, somehow got some good strategy and made good adjustments, kept up with the track, and we're there at the end, which is obviously the most important part. So, yeah, hats off to everyone at Kaulig Racing. A great show out for us, and just a little taste of what we're capable of doing. So, couldn't be happier.
Well, the listeners, myself, we've watched Kaulig grow. We've watched you grow with Kaulig from the Xfinity side of things. Obviously, some growing pains year one. We know everybody will get it figured out, down the road. Talk to us a little bit about, for you, the changes. We talk about drivers changing across teams or across series. You making the move with the same team with their first full-time season in Cup. Has that been different than any type of driver change, you've experienced in the past? Walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, well, fortunately enough, like you commented on, I was able to move up to the Cup Series with a team that I know and love and have been with in the Xfinity Series and grown the Xfinity Series program there with them. So, that made it a little bit easier, but also it was a startup race team, right? First full-time season, first full-time driver, and throughout it all, just trying to build a foundation and figure out what works for us. And, that's really what's been hard. The Cup Series is extremely difficult. It's, obviously the premier series in America. So for stock car racing, and it's, it's just hard. Every week you try to find little things that you can pick up on and be better on. And everyone is also looking at those little things that they're struggling with and trying to be better upon themselves. So, yeah, man, it's been difficult, but obviously really reassuring. And when we come home with a great run like that and have been running like we have, makes all the long, hard hours in the shop and the commitment from the team members so much worth it.
Now, you've made, you've obviously raced in the Cup Series, some one-offs here and there. Any big difference for you personally being in the Cup garage week in, week out? There's obviously more people, there's more media, more sponsors. Is that intimidating, or is that something that we're 11, 12 races into the season, that doesn't play an impacting role?
Well, the biggest thing for me is one, last year with Spire, not discrediting what they're doing, but we knew our place and we knew every week what we wanted to accomplish, right? And it was just a different style race team, and I'm super thankful I got the opportunity to kind of get my foot in the door in the Cup Series. But now this opportunity, Kaulig Racing, we have everything we need or could want to be successful. We just have to figure out, we have 1,000-piece puzzle, right? Sure. And we're trying to figure out where each puzzle piece goes. And at this point, I don't even know if there's a picture on that puzzle. It's just 1,000 pieces of puzzle. So that's how difficult it is going to the Cup Series. And me just knowing that I can compete, right, with the best in America for stock car racing. That's huge for me. And, just trying to gain that confidence. Obviously, we fired off at LA with a great showing, had a lot of speed, and we've had little little hints of speed here and there. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely been hard, but also, you know, you're put in front of a bigger crowd and you're just trying to prove yourself. Like every week I try to enter the garage and prove that I belong there. And that's probably been the most difficult. So, yeah, just gaining that confidence, knowing that, you know, I'm trying to be in the sport for a long time.
Absolutely. Well, you know, and let's not discredit. I mean, you know, 12 races in, you know, we're looking at 6, 7, top 15, top 20 finishes, you know, and just to kind of give everyone a perspective, Justin, you're in the driver's seat. You correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, kind of like you said with Spire, you guys knew what you were going to be able to get out of that car and where you were going to be at. Kaulig, first year out of the gate, to be pulling off top 15, top 20s, that should be putting people on notice. Like, hey, it's not going to take us long, and we're going to be competing for wins and top fives on a week in, week out basis here over the next year or two.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at their Xfinity program; they're 7 years in, right? And their first 3 or 4 years, I mean, it was a rough go. I mean, it's hard to build a race team from the ground up, especially a Cup team. You see a lot of teams that come in the sport and maybe just, you know, buy a team that's going away or you know, try to line themselves. But I mean, this is just us, right? This is just the drivers, Matt Kaulig, our sponsors, Chris Rice. I mean, this is not a big organization, so trying to compete with the likes of Hendrick and Joe Gibbs and RCR and the organizations that have been around for 40, 50, you know, 70 years, however long, you know, it's just difficult. And it's just trying to find your rhythm every week. So, yeah, I mean, we kind of know our expectations, right? We want to be right around that 15th to we don't want to be around that, but we know we should be around 15th to 20th every week. And what we need to do is optimize that and be realistic and take days like yesterday where we had a 20th place car and maximize those. We unloaded at Dover 2 weeks ago. We had a top 10 car and we ran top 10 all day and maximized on that. So and the crucial part too is we have this next gen car. Every week right now we're going to the racetrack and it's a complete guess.
Sure.
Some weeks we're really good. Like we were at Dover. We were really good at LA, good at Circuit of the Americas. And, you know, we go to Martinsville or Richmond, places that we've struggled at. And, you know, you just try to take those days where you know you're not going to have a good finish, right, and make it a good finish. So just trial and error, trying to figure everything out. Pit crew has been a part of it. We don't hire or train our own pit crews. They're subcontracted out from Trackhouse. So, you know, it's a Trackhouse developmental crew. They've been awesome all year. So just the little things. I mean, we are still just trying to figure out what works.
Awesome, man. That's so cool. It's like I said, it's been great to watch Kaulig grow on the Xfinity side. Can't wait to watch him grow on the Cup side. Speaking of growing, a couple new teammates in the mix. Veterans, Landon Castle, Daniel Hemrick. What's it like having them in the shop with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, obviously AJ is he's cool to work with, and he's got so much experience, and he's dedicated, right? And then you got Hemric, who just is coming off an Xfinity championship. He's obviously extremely talented. And then you have Landon Castle, who is just a student of the game. I mean, he can work a computer better than anyone I know, and I'm sure he could crew chief, engineer, and drive the race car all at the same time. So we just have a bunch of different personalities and things that we all are kind of good at and mix them all together in a pot, and it just kind of makes our organization good. So yeah, just like I said, it's been cool. It's awesome to have the opportunity from Matt Kaulig and all of our great partners to go out there and show what we're capable of. And that's why I'm so proud of Darlington is it's one of the hardest racetracks on the schedule. You know, the most tiring racetrack. It takes a lot of skill, got to be there at the end. And just to show that we could do that at that track was pretty special to me. Well, man, you know, you've mastered the super speedways. Like, I remember watching Talladega, like everyone wanted to come up and work with you. You know, at least that's how it looked from a fan perspective on TV, to go out there and do what you guys did at Darlington. You're getting the hard ones out of the way, and man, they're just going to start rolling eventually, I feel. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, you see it with Ross Chastain, one of my old teammates. right? Struggled at first and had an okay year last year, fired off with a win, and now it seems like he's the guy to beat every week. So they don't lie when they say momentum is definitely crucial.
Absolutely. All right, man. Last one for you here. I asked all the guys that were on from Kaulig this week. We all know about the history and the nostalgia with Darlington. When does that set in for you when you go to places like Darlington, Bristol, Martinsville? Is it when you're driving in, strapping in? When does it hit you, the history of where you're racing?
Probably after, depending on how I do. I mean, you're just so focused on the task at hand even when you arrive. I mean, you pull in the gate and you don't even think about it. You don't even think about that you're racing at Daytona, because as soon as you start to think that and think about how cool it is, your mind's somewhere else. So you just have to race that track that week, be there, and just put everything in. So, it's awesome. I never could have dreamed I would have finished top 10 at Darlington in my Cup career. So I've struggled there in the Xfinity car. So it was definitely cool.
I mean, it just sounds like you got to go order that diecast and put that up somewhere, I think,
Yeah, if they make the diecast.
All right, Matt. Well, listen, tell everyone where they can follow you and keep up with you on social media.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think that my social media relevance is key anymore. That Chris Rice, the team president, he's got all kinds of pages and all sorts of stuff going on. So just go follow Chris Rice for me. And
he'll take care of
it. Yeah, you'll see all you need to see if you go to Chris Rice's pages.
I love it. Lap Traffic Nation, huge thanks to Justin for calling in, man. Great to catch up with you. Congrats on this past weekend, man. And look forward to talking to you later in the season.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon. All right. There you have Justin Haley. Definitely excited. That's awesome. So great to see that out of Kaulig this past weekend. All right. A little fun question here I threw out to you guys today on social media. Got a couple responses from you guys. I asked you all, what was your favorite throwback from this weekend? And I'm going to be honest. I'll read your guys instead. I'll get to mine, but I was a little disappointed in the throwbacks. I didn't feel like there was the build behind it. I don't feel like they were all that. I mean, they've been doing it a minute, and so probably like all the ones that we expected to see have already been done. There were a couple good ones that stood out this year, but I just felt as a whole, from a field perspective, just didn't hit me as strongly as it normally does. But let's see what you guys had to say. Chris at USMC_NASCAR Fire. Corey LaJoy nailed it with the 777. Anytime they go old school number, bubbles, logo, whatever the case may be, I love it. Chris at Chris Strauss 24, definitely Willie B, because my fire suit matches better than his did, and I drive a Monte Carlo that's signed by Mr. H and Jeff. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. Let's see. Jess at Iowa NASCAR Fan. Both Team Trackhouse schemes were legit. Same sponsors, ideal fonts. It also didn't seem to matter. The number was in a different place for the particular schemes. The one car gets bonus points for the same number. I love that. Let's see. Timothy Tripp at crypto_Tim_35. If they would have allowed the teams to move the number to the original spot, then I'd have one. So, I mean, yeah, hey, it's throwback, right? Like you should, I mean, maybe they will. I won't be surprised, probably because it's so new with the car and the numbers and all that. And they don't want to, they already taken a lot of heat for that from the fan base. So maybe in a couple years, I could totally see them doing that. For me, definitely Trackhouse nailed it with the 1 in 99 Coke cars. But I'm going to give a special mention. I thought it was fantastic. JJ Yaley throwing it back to Clint Boyer's 5 Hour Energy, but with the throwback sponsor in Ollie's. I thought that was cool. Clint was excited to see that. I thought that was really cool. So definitely those were to me the only three that really stood out. You guys got it for sure. So, all right. There's that. We'll keep some fun ones in the mix every once in a while. Okay. What do you say we do a little lap traffic social media? And then we'll hear from AJ Allmendinger. We got Brian Neudorff, LuckyDogs, and Lap Traffic Fantasy. So without further ado, everybody, make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. If you've made it this far to the show, or into the show, leave a review wherever you're listening. Go tell your friends to check out the show. Give a follow. we are making headway on the giveaway, less than 140 followers away from 6,000 and giving away the diecast and sheet metal. Huge shout out to @Atlanta Racing for a joint giveaway. Sent them a bunch of stuff. They're going to be doing some promotional giveaways with some of their partners and throwing lap traffic swag in the mix, which is awesome. And speaking of new follower shout outs, Tim at Tim Gerlach, a dirt track NASCAR fan, Nebraska football fan. Hey, Nebraska football, Michigan football, 1997. Oh, let's just go get everybody. Let's just get everybody that's still here and that can put on pads and go play it and see who wins. Go blue all the way. Justin Cawley at Justin Cawley 11, Car Bluff, motorsports enthusiast, member of the Peak Squad. Who isn't a member of the Peak Squad? Bullhorn at Bullhorn_FM. Place for indie podcasters, promoting podcasts and all that good stuff. Robert Walsh at rwalsh5557, firefighter and AEMT and a big NASCAR fan. Steve Waldrop at Waldrop SK, Cowboys fan, Stars fan, Harvick fan. Ashley C at Astros Smash 88, short tracks and super speedway fan from Alberta, Canada. That's awesome. Slideways at Slideways Brad, racer, motorsports junkie. Welcome to the show, guys. Tell your friends. Anybody wants a free lap traffic koozie and some stickers, all you got to do is fill out the contact page on the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, and I will send those out to you for free. All right. Let's get to our last driver from Kaulig Racing that'll be on the show tonight. Let's get Mr. AJ Allmendinger on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his 4th appearance on the Lap Traffic Podcast. He's got 10 top 10s through 10 races, 6 top 5s, and 1 win already in 2022. He is the driver, number 16 with Kaulig Racing. Welcome back, AJ Allmendinger. What's up, brother? How are you, man?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, man, it's great. It's Friday afternoon. Can't wait to kick off the weekend and all that good stuff. Listen, man, hell of a start to the year already, picking up right where you left off last year. How things going for you is from your perspective?
Yeah, I think they've been really solid. There's times during these races, I think we all at Kaulig Racing feel like we had a little bit more speed. But the biggest thing is I've tried to focus on in the off season, and my crew chief Bruce and everybody on the 16 team is just trying to execute, make sure we maximize every race, whether that's a shot to win the race or, the best that we can run that day is a 5th or a 6th. That's what we're trying to focus on. And we are definitely working hard to find more speed on average everywhere. But I feel like so far so good. We've done everything that we can to maximize every finish, every weekend, get everything that we can out of these races, and so far so good.
I love it, man. Some new teammates for you over at Kaulig this season with veteran Landon Castle, Daniel Hemric making the move over there. Obviously, you and Justin have been together for a minute. How's the chemistry with the new guys, and what's the locker room feel, if you will, and all that good stuff?
It's been amazing. It's been better than I ever expected, and I've known Daniel and Landon for a while. I wouldn't say that, we were like best friends going into this, but we definitely have had we spoke to each other a lot and things like that. So when I found out both of them were coming over to Kaulig Racing, I was really excited. Daniel coming over is the champion. His driven a lot of different Xfinity cars. I felt like that was going to be a huge asset to our race team because, if you really think about it, myself and Justin, and even Ross to a certain extent, hadn't driven a lot of different Xfinity cars. And that was something that I think lacked sometimes because we didn't really know any different, right? It's like, okay, this is all we know, and we're trying to build on that. So with Daniel have driven so many different teams, he's really helped us understand, okay, where are we better, where are we worse? Landon, he has such a work ethic that he brings to this race team, a different outlook of how to look at things, which is has really helped, I think, myself and Chris Rice, all the men and women at Kaulig Racing. So our chemistry has been really, really good, and I only see it getting better. And through the first quarter of the season. I've really enjoyed them as my teammates, and I think we're just going to keep getting better. So that's what I'm really looking forward to.
That's really cool. That's a cool perspective to share with regard to Daniel and driving for some other teams and how, hey, here's what, a couple different organizations did. Let's take the pros from all of that and mix them together and see what we can come up with, kind of thing. That's really cool. And that's awesome that it's worked out for you guys. I love that.
Yeah, definitely. And, I love, especially Daniel being the champion. He's right at the pinnacle, right? I mean, he's the champ, and I love comparing myself to that. And, Landon, in a certain way, all of us have had our ups and downs in the sport of NASCAR. Me being the complete elder statesman, the old one of the group. But, Landon has fought so hard just to keep his foot in the door, doing a lot of things that, I don't know a lot of us could actually do, whether it's starting parks or being on the sideline and working hard, with what he's done with his sponsor Voyager and just the crypto side of it. That's what's been outlook of, okay, we've had some success. We've had a lot of downs, and I think that gives us a different perspective. Of course, we're going to go out there and grind as hard as we can to go win the races, but it definitely, as a whole, the three of us have experienced the highs and lows of NASCAR, and I think it kind of makes us better because we can kind of bounce those things off of each other and know that, even maybe the worst days at the racetrack are still better than some of the worst days that we've had in this sport.
Sure. No, that's awesome, man. I love it. All right. Headed to Darlington this week. Tracks like Darlington, Bristol, Martinsville, they all have a ton of history behind it. When does it hit you, that nostalgia feel, driving in, pulling in, or not until you strap into the race or not even then, but when's that history side kind of set in for you?
Yeah, Darlington, it's fun to go to any racetrack, but when you're able to go to a racetrack with such history behind it, what it's meant to the sport of NASCAR, the type of racetrack that it is, it's unique and it's difficult to drive. It's definitely not my most favorite racetrack. I feel like every time I get on there, I've been doing it for so many years, and I leave there going, what the heck is this place? And how do I get better at it? The last year, I didn't know really what to expect. I felt like, although the finishes didn't show it, we had some strong runs at both the races. So it gives me minor confidence going to Darlington this year. I wouldn't say it's not like me showing up to Indy or something like that, where I'm like, heck yeah, like I'm going to dominate this race.
Right.
But
drop it.
But it's one of those racetracks. It's so challenging, and so many great race car drivers have won there. And it's fun to go there because of that. And if you have a great run and if we're fortunate enough maybe to go win the race, you put your name with really the greats of the sport. And that's what makes Darlington so fun.
Awesome. Getting close to summer, which is when last year you guys really lit the scene on fire, starting at Mid-Ohio last year in June, racking up wins through Michigan, tons of top fives through the playoffs. What are a couple tracks circled on your calendar as we get into the summer months here?
Yeah, to me, and I actually just realized this a couple of weeks ago as I was doing some stuff for NBC. You look at the schedule, and it's a lot of fun during the summer. There was a time where, to be brutally honest, I hated the summer months. It was like after I got past Sonoma, it was just a lot of kind of the racetracks that all felt the same, or you'd kind of go back to the same racetrack a couple of times in an 8-week span, things like that.
Yeah.
And and I felt like even the sport itself it just wasn't a good part of the schedule. And now you really look at the racetracks, you look on the Xfinity side of it, going to Portland, that's where I got my first Champ Car win. And it's going to be a lot of fun showing up there. We got all kinds of racetracks. You go to Gateway on the Cup side of it for the first time. We get the road courses in there. So I wouldn't say I circle anything on the calendar, but it is definitely a fun part of the schedule because you go to so many different types of racetracks. And, at Kaulig Racing right now, we're trying to get better at all of them. So it's not like I circle it like, okay, of course the road courses, we know we have a great shot, but it's about trying to go to these racetracks and keep getting better. And more importantly, we know we're locked in the playoffs, and it's about going out there and being at our best when we get to the playoffs. Because I felt like last year we were good, but we weren't great as we headed in the playoffs. And we made it to the Final Four, which was amazing, but never really showed up to Phoenix like, okay, we can win this. And that's the goal this year, is try to keep building and getting faster each week. So when we hit the playoffs, we are at our best.
Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned kind of the mundaneness there of, you know, some of the tracks, you know, even just a few years ago, we were going to, you know, with such a short turnaround, you know, Michigan, my home track, you know, there were times Michigan and Pocono were back-to-back weekends to each other, literally 7 to 8 weeks apart. And, you know, you could totally see, you know, even with fans not even showing up into the stands, like, well, I'm not going to go to both because, you know, it's just 7 weeks apart, you know. So I do love that aspect of, like you said, you know, we've got fun tracks, new ones in the mix, and it's definitely a little bit more of a diverse schedule during the summer than what we had a few years ago. Absolutely.
No doubt. It was, I always remember, it's like when I was in the 47, we'd be really fast to Sonoma, something would happen. And you'd leave that racetrack, you're like, okay, now we're going to Daytona, now we're going to Michigan twice, now we're going to Kentucky, and you're like, it's all the same racetracks, like, oh. And it was just it was a tough part of the schedule, I think, as an industry. So I love what NASCAR's done, right? We go to Nashville. That's going to be, for the second time, you know, that's going to be fun, at least second time in several years, and second time for Cup ever, right? Yep. So you go there, and you know, I think some of it has to do with me running Cup as well, because it's like we do Gateway, and then the next week is Sonoma for Cup, and then, you know, we go to Nashville and in New Hampshire. I always like New Hampshire, things like that. So it's definitely a cool part of the schedule.
Absolutely. Speaking of Cup, you know, helping out part-time on the 16 ride there. How's that transition been, helping getting Kaulig up and running from the Cup side of things, with you obviously having, you know, a strong Cup background yourself? You know, what's that been like, trying to work that into the mix with Kaulig?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a tough, for sure. A lot of it is this next gen car and not having a lot of parts, and you put two Cup teams together at the end of the year, and you show up and try to get ready for Daytona, and it's never easy. And then you add a brand new car to that, and that makes it even more of a challenge. But at the end of the day, I think the Cup side of it, what's great about Matt Kaulig and Chris Rice is it's not, of course you want to go out there and have a chance to go win races, or at least generally run up front, but it's not do or die, right? You know, this is a long-term process on the Cup side of it. It's going to take some time. You're going to have some days where you feel good. You feel great leaving the racetrack. And then there's days you leave the racetrack and go, oh my God, what are we doing? It's that's part of a Cup life in a brand new organization when it comes to it. But the next gen car is fun. It's unique. It's different to drive. And there's going to be those good runs and bad runs. So, you know, I think we're learning as we go. Dover was going to be a great finish. Justin's doing a great job full time. He's really kind of, I think, getting in the flow of it. You can see a lot of top 20 runs, top 15 runs, which is what really you can ask for right now as a rookie team. Yep. Yeah, anything inside the top 20. I mean, it's tough to run it. You look at, sometimes you finish 19th and you're like, oh, 19th. Then you look at the guys you beat and you're like, oh my God, like, look who we're beating. It's tough, and so you got to take baby wins, and I think Justin's doing a great job being consistent. He could actually be a lot higher in points. He's had a couple of bad luck runs, not of his doing. So it's going well. Of course, you always want it now, but it's not going to be like that. And, you know, the road course side of it, I think we will have good shots to run up front, because as we saw at COTA, we had a shot to win the race, and I think we can go to every road course and at least have the expectation to run inside the top 10, top 5, and give ourselves a shot to win.
Fantastic. That's great, man. From the Xfinity side of things, you know, we got a off week after this weekend at Darlington. Anything fun lined up, or, you know, going to get out of Dodge per se?
Not really. I don't think so. You travel, at least for me and my wife, you travel enough. You get a chance to be at home for a weekend. I'm gonna take that, because pretty quick after that, you go to Texas and then get a little home race in Charlotte, which is nice. And then heck, one weekend I go from Portland to St. Louis in the same weekend to race. I know for Kyle Larson, that's a normal day for him, but for somebody like me, I'm a little more at ease of what I do. So, and then we go to Sonoma. So definitely just going to relax on the off weekend because I don't get many of them. And this is the most races I'll ever run in my life in a year. So, awesome. I tried to semi-retire about 3 years ago, and now I'm doing the most races I've ever done in my life. So it is what it is.
Oh, that's great, man. Well, listen, man, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. Tell everyone where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, you can follow us at Kaulig Racing on Twitter and all the Kaulig Racing websites and Instagram and things like that. And then me personally, you can follow me at AJ Dinger on Twitter. I won't lie. I kind of keep it, pretty low profile and I'm to myself at times, but yeah, that's where you can follow me.
I love it, man. Well, listen, man, thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate the support as always. Best of luck this weekend, rest of 2022, and look forward to talking to you soon, man.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks, you, man.
We'll see ya.
All right.
All right, there you have AJ Allmendinger. Recorded that one earlier in the weekend, but still awesome. AJ's such a fun interview. Great to talk with him. Okay, we're about ready to close things out here in a little bit, but right now, let's get Mr. Brian Neudorff on the line and see what's going on with him. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, you can follow him on Twitter at NASCAR_WXMAN, along with Aaron Studwell at Race Weather. Welcome back to the show. A very fired up Mr. Brian Neudorff.
I'm not fired up, but I definitely can smell pitchforks getting lit around NASCAR Nation right now.
What's going on, man? How are you?
You bumped and run me on this, for our time slot, I swear.
It's a great analogy.
Luckily, I guess apparently because I didn't wreck, it's a bump and run. But if somebody loses control and they wreck, it's not a bump and run. I'm now confused what a bump and run is.
What a bump and run is. I love it. Real quick, how was Mother's Day for the wife and all that?
Good. I told her I gave her a set amount that she works part-time at Barnes & Nobles to help our kids out. And she gets 30%. So whatever I give her goes a lot farther.
Okay.
So I gave her an amount to spend for Mother's Day, and she went over. She only went over by like $9. I'm just giving her,
nice.
But no.
Good deal.
No, it was good. And then when we got home, my wife, who's the introvert, I just said, okay, there's your books. I'm going to leave you alone.
Nice.
So there she won, she didn't have to see me and she got to read her book. So I think it's an absolute win.
Excellent. Good deal.
How was Lindsay's first Mother's Day?
It was great. Couldn't have dialed it up any better. Did the traditional, made her breakfast, got flowers.
And she didn't get sick.
Didn't get sick. Nope. Had a personalized, first Mother's Day etched frame with a picture of them put in it. Got a garden stone for her, and then had both sets of parents over for dinner, and everybody went home, and then we had another hour or two to just chill ourselves. So all good.
Very cool.
Yeah, all good. All good. Let's see here, man. All right, let's dive right in. So you literally minutes ago, because I did bump you, you were like, I'm bored, I need something to do. So you created a poll, and I love it. So what's the poll? Where are we at with it?
All right. So I was trying, because of Mother's Day, I didn't get a chance to, I was watching some of the race, but I had to stop it. So I decided I knew the controversy, what had happened. So I went back and I wanted to rewatch the last couple of laps and so on. And clearly Joey was faster. Yes. Apparently Gordon forgot about 2006 when he's bumped Matt Kenseth in Chicagoland when he could have done it cleanly. I'm a Gordon fan. All right. So it's always how it's short-term memory, right?
Right. Yes. So
it got me thinking, what is a bump and run? What's the acceptable bump and run? Do they like it? Do they hate it? All of this stuff. Yeah, sorry, I'm reading literally live as we're talking about. I keep reverting to this is Louis Frank. I keep reverting to Dale Earnhardt's description as what he did to Terry Labonte. I didn't mean to wreck him. I just wanted to rattle his cage. But like I said, for the record, I don't think what I said in my tweet after all of this was I don't think a bump and run can be 100% successfully done. Okay. There's so many factors. And I truly believe that the majority of the time in a situation, both drivers want the win, right? Win at all costs. You're at the track. You have fenders, right? We're not open wheel. There's bumpers, there's fenders on these vehicles. And so, you're in a situation, you got to make a move. You're faster. We see so many guys block anymore, right? I mean, it's never like, well, this guy's faster than me. No, you're going to battle out. You're not going to let the guy get around you.
Yep.
So you do what you can to win.
Absolutely.
So this idea that well, he was faster, he should go like you're 2 laps to go. Like Byron was just going to give him room to go around him. It was going to make it hard, which is that's his job, right?
100%.
So my take is, I mean, and let's take out the names. Driver X, used their fenders to move. Now, did Logano really want him to go into the wall? I don't really think he did.
No,
all right. I think most of the time, nobody wants to see the competitor go into the wall because they know, crap, the next race I'm in for it, or whenever that rears its ugly head. But still, that's why I go back to the aspect of and plus, if you go back and watch, Byron's car is extremely loose before he gets the bump. So his tires were probably not very good at that point. He gets bumped. So now you've got momentum, you got hit. It was probably the car, the momentum, and everything set up for Byron to go into the wall. I'm not saying listen, I don't know what's in Logano's heart. Did he mean to? Did he not? I don't know. Only Joey knows. All right. But what do we say? Rubbin's racing, right?
Absolutely. That's I said it a little bit ago on the show that, if he did that with 10 laps to go, okay, maybe I got a little bit of an issue with it. But, in the age where it's sometimes hard to pass and you've got the speed, you got the faster car, we do it at Martinsville every day of the week. Well, if you got it, you put it there. Perfect world situation. Byron finishes second. If you're going to go to, option 3, it didn't cause a bigger wreck behind the scenes. I think he still finished with a top 10.
He was 9th.
Memory serves correct,
yeah. He finished 9th.
Not like, I finished 9th. That's still okay. I get that. Does Joey have one coming? Probably, and now we got more drama and, and all of that. Like, I mean,
that's right.
That's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got no issues with it. And like you said, if you just put out the analogy to any race fan of, hey, driver X does this to driver Y, are you okay with it? Odds are they're probably going to answer yes until driver X is their driver and their driver finishes 9th. So
well, and this poll will probably be done by the time this podcast goes up because I didn't put very much time on it. But so as I put this out there, I put this out there 22 minutes ago. All right. It has 180 votes. The question was, in 2022, the bump and run is, and then basically acceptable, that's racing, bad for racing, or okay, depends on who does it. Now, surprisingly enough, I mean, it's the acceptable, that's racing, is essentially is getting 2/3 of the vote. Whereas the next is okay, depends on who does it. At least those people are honest.
Right.
And then the other people who say it's bad for racing are not necessary. They apparently watch open wheel. And sorry, no. If you voted for that and you're listening to me, I'm rattling your cage.
As all Earnhardt wanted to do.
Exactly. Just wanted to rattle his teeth a little bit.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, and part of the reason I did this is because I don't have a dog in these fights anymore.
Yep.
So I'm not like invested as much as I should be. I'm more invested in how the fans react to these kind of stuff. And it's sometimes, I wouldn't say comical. It's comical. It's comical.
It is. I get you. I get where you're coming from.
I grew up and I'm an open wheel guy. Okay. That's where I got my start, is an open wheel, but I've been to a local short track. Okay. I see what goes on there.
Yep.
all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
You got it, man. You got it.
And, like I said, I think that's why I put the last one. It's okay. Depends on who does it.
Yeah.
Insert if it was like you said, if it was Chase bumping out Logano, everybody would be okay with that.
I think it's definitely a different tune. That may be an unpopular opinion, but I definitely think it's a different tune.
Oh, it's definitely a different tune if you're a Logano fan.
Yeah. 100%. Yes, sir.
Well, let's just and we were talking about this. We hear all the time, "Oh, I wish it was like the good old days. I wish it was like this. I wish it was like that." And ultimately, I wasn't even paying attention to it back then, but you think about it. All of these people who say that, they're back in the day, you had drivers so dominant.
Yeah.
That, they were like laps ahead of the entire field. Who wants to watch that race? We'd never have that.
Well, hell, they asked the King that pre-race, and he flat out said it's so different. Everybody's so good. We all know that. Like, they said, will there ever be 200 winners? No, because, we don't. We talk about lack of parity now. I mean, it was a different ball game back then to have one or two, when you had, Petty and some of these guys battling it out for a 1-2 finish. It was because they were the only cars on the lead lap that could battle it out for that finish, So now a big change in the game was when we added, and I'm drawing a blank when we did it, but when we added the lucky dog pass to get that lap back, that was a game changer, and they've made improvements and the teams have just gotten better. And, we talk about a lack of that now in terms of, the haves and the have nots, but last I checked, that also is racing, so, I know there'll never be another Richard Petty. But that's okay because you can still define dominance in today's era just as well. So,
yeah, and also keep in mind that I think a lot of that lucky dog too, at least came to when they stopped allowing drivers to race around.
Yes. Well, that was back when we had the single file restarts too. Back in the day, that was what an atrocity that was. Like we lost out on the fan base on that one, thank gosh. Yeah. We've got the double file restarts now and we got the choose rule, which I absolutely love. I mean, if we really think about it, the sport has gotten a lot better. We get this car figured out over the next year or two. I'll go on record till I'm in the ground and saying the track or the sport is going upward, not downward. It's just a matter of who's paying attention and watching. So. Yeah.
And it could be said too that, I don't know how many bump and I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen as much as I probably should have, but how many bump and runs that we had with this new car, so, that could be a factor too. This is something that, you've got to adjust with this brand new cars, yada, 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 whatever you want to put out there. I'm not saying, every fan, you're gonna like it. You're either gonna hate it, or you're either gonna love it, or you're gonna hate it. I guess.
Yep.
Kind of like the weather, Right.
Nice segue, sir.
Well, like I said, I don't have a dog in this fight. I want to see something interesting. I want to see the personality. We sit here and we don't want fighting, but then we do want fighting. We want personality, but we don't want to see the personality. We boo personality. It's like I can't keep it straight what NASCAR fans want. I don't even think they know what they want. Honestly, they have this idea, like I think this is how we are in this country right now. We have this idea of what the good old days were, and I don't think we even have a concept of if those were really good old days, or we just hold on to some romantic point or part of it that we thought was good, but when you look at the whole big picture, wasn't that great? I don't know.
Yeah, we definitely romanticize a lot of things. That's definitely for sure. There is no doubt about that. I'll get behind that all day.
Yeah, so enjoy what you have, because if you didn't have it, then that's the other option, and that would not be fun.
Absolutely. I'm with you. All right, man. We are headed to Kansas, true Midwest. We got a truck race Saturday night, cup race on Sunday. How are things looking?
Well, I'm going to start early because I'm noticing more and more, everybody. Now, personally, as a fan, you get tickets and you go to the whole week. If you go, you have the whole weekend. We'll make a whole weekend of it. Okay. So if you're there Friday, Friday and Saturday at this point, we're still so far out there.
Yes. Yeah, we are a little early.
But there are chances of showers and thunderstorms. They don't look like slam dunks, but then again, they don't look like, something to not pay attention to. So that way nobody can say I didn't tell you. All right. That's what, so it's hot right now. It's not going to be as hot going into the end of the week with the general pattern kind of flattening out that's going on right now. But it's still going to be warm. Temperatures mid 80s on Friday, Saturday a little cooler. And right now, Sunday looks good. And cooler, but again, a lot can change, timing, systems, all that kind of stuff. But for right now, I would say the target possibilities of showers are Friday and Saturday. And it's kind of like, I feel like at least this argument about bump and run is kind of like what we have with this discussion about weather and racing and stuff like that. It's never, everybody wants to say everybody wants to move the schedule. But it's an outdoor sport. Okay. There are no days that are like 100% dry all the time.
Right.
Trust me. I bet if NASCAR knew that, they would be scheduling on those days.
Absolutely.
So, and it's an outside sport and it's a weather sensitive sport. All right. And you race over, as somebody once tried to tell me, they tried to argue that, most were wet, and they were only including like the weekend as a whole and saying, well, because this one, like one day of the weekend is rained on, so it ruins the entire weekend. You can't work it that way.
No.
So,
if practice gets rained out, but you get all 3 races at scheduled start time from start to finish, that is a win. Like,
it is a win. And I'm going to tell you right now. And those who go for the trucks and those who go for the Xfinity, but if one of those gets rained out, but the Cup doesn't, that's still, I consider, a win.
That's a solid day. That's a solid weekend. Track's happy. That's you. If the Cup race goes off without a hitch, I don't know if NASCAR would want to admit it, but that's definitely a win just from your typical, your draw perspective.
I consider to me personally,
yep.
I consider for me if we can get through the weekend with no track
yep.
rained on.
Yeah.
I feel like people are now padding stats because like if practice or qualifying gets rained out, I get dinged like it's like, let's look at the bigger picture here.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's usually the diehards, and God bless them. But there's if you've ever been to it, it's so much going on at a track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yep.
But yeah, overall, it's not looking too bad. So if people check out, they'll see the results. Let's take a look at how we've gone since we started this segment to where we are now. Let's see if I can find let's see if I can find the wonderful link that has. So let me see here. We have now 225 votes.
All right.
It's actually going down. Acceptable. 65% now say it's acceptable.
Okay.
And 22 say it's okay. I don't mind that that's getting more love. It's still at 12% is the bad for racing. So 12% actually don't like the bump and run. But I'd say majority,
yes.
Majority say it's either that's racing or it's okay, but it just depends on who does it.
I love it. Well, man, this was a fun one. Maybe you need to put a poll up before we do this every time and see what kind of fun topics.
Only if it's interesting.
Yeah, I love it. All right, man. Well, listen, it was good to catch up with you, and we'll catch you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good.
All right, everyone, make sure you go follow Brian on Twitter at NASCAR_WXMAN, along with Aaron Studwell at Race Weather. Sir, we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll see ya. All right, great to catch up with Brian Neudorff. Let's keep things going. Let's get to this week's Lucky Dog Lapdown Picks. You guys know the drill. After race weekend, tweet your Lucky Dog and Lapdown Picks. I'll read them out, tag you guys on some social media. My Lucky Dog, I'm going to keep things going, and I'm giving it to Joey Logano. Boy got it done, picked up the win. Lapped out William Byron, not being able to pick up the win. And also, Let's see here. I'm torn. Do I want to throw it to the lack of paint schemes, or is that just me? That might be a side note there for me, just an aside. All right, let's get to your tweeted responses. Scott at 1985 Wagner. Let's see here. Lucky Dog is 2311 Racing definitely seemed to be running in favor of wreckers instead of checkers. I'm sorry, that was his lap down. Lucky Dog is going to Justin Haley, third place result finally, and has a second lap down in the next gen car, has 24 of 36 running at the end on a non-super speedway. That's a great call. I meant to bring that up during my race talk there a little while ago. That was just absurd that half the field, well, not half the field, almost half the field, did not finish this race at Darlington. Like, we're not talking Talladega. We're not talking Daytona. We're talking Darlington. That many cars to not finish the race is absolutely crazy. I am with you there 100%. Chris at USMC_NASCAR Fire. Lucky Dog, Justin Haley with a P3 lap down. Joey Logano for a dirty ass hit. Chris, you and I agree on a lot of things. You're not going to like some of the things I've said this week on the show there. Oh, I love it. Fritz at Fritz9824, Lucky Dog, Justin Haley, lap down. William Byron for not being able to take a little bump after dooring someone. Guy G at Not the Other Guy, Lucky Dog, Joey Logano, aggressive, elbows out, getting revenge for an earlier incident and the win. Lap down, Hendrick team, 48 and 5 wreck out, 24. Looks like a crybaby on TV, and the 9 manages to scrape together a good finish, but he was all over the track today. Ooh, aggressive from Guy. I love it. Jason at JA Stone 29. Lucky Dog, the fans for a lot of fantastic racing. Damn, Joey Logano, you just made a whole bunch of HMS fans mad. That's racing, ladies and gentlemen. Hell, I'd be mad too, but lap down, definitely the 24 for Joey. Wouldn't run his ass over. 22 is quiet but aggressive. Loved it. I'm with you. Jess at Iowa NASCAR fan. Lucky Dog, the cars that were making it a 3-stop race in the last stage that got the lucky caution, lap down, Toyotas, all looked very strong and only one finished. Isn't that crazy? That's nuts. Lisa at LL Chanana. Lucky Dog, Justin Haley on his first top 5 of the season. Lap down the 13 drivers that didn't finish. Is this a record for Darlington? Let's see. Let's take a quick peek. Just went over to Racing Reference for you. Definitely a record over the last, decade or so from what I could see. That's for sure. Bonus Lucky Dog. It's Mother's Day. Humor me, us fans, because damn, great racing. Fantastic, Lisa. Matt at Camper News Net. Lucky Dog. Kevin Harvick with another great finish at Darlington after starting at the back of the field. Lap down, Joey Logano, as that was a dirty move as a result of what happened earlier in the race. Oh, Matt, you and Chris aren't going to like me today, I think. Michael at Mad Mike Nebbia, Lucky Dog, Justin Haley, lap down. Logano for his dirty move on Byron, not even attempting a clean pass. Oh, I'm pissing some of the lap traffic faithful off here. I don't know. Numbers might go down after this week. Rowdy at the Rowdy Dragon, Lucky Dog. Christopher Bell, the only undamaged Toyota to finish the race. Good call there. Lap down, Kyle Larson, 1 point for his efforts. Yes, I told a buddy in another league to pick him, and that didn't go too well. And WRY Cape at WRY Cape, Lucky Dog, Logano staying out of trouble to take the checkered. Lap down the jackass fan who threw a beer at John Hunter Nemechek. Yeah, that's not smart. That's just not good. All right. That is this week's Lucky Dog segment. Let's close this thing out with a little lap traffic fantasy. Just a reminder, get your picks in by 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. Keep the Twitter interaction up using hashtag LTFantasy. All right, this is the last week for segment 1 going into Kansas. We are going to crown a winner of the segment 1, and we're going to pick things up with segment 2. We're going to add the cumulative totals, which will set the playoff field. But if you win segment 2, it's an automatic bid into the playoffs. You'll knock somebody out, as happened last year. We had someone dominate segment 1, fall apart segment 2, fell out of the top 16, but their segment 1 win got them into the playoffs. So there's that. So come back and play if you haven't played in a few weeks and you threw the towel in. fair game after this week at Kansas. So I had a pretty decent week back in the top 30. I had Hamlin, Noah Gragson, John Hunter Nemechek for 133 points. Our week high this week was 143 points. I believe it was with John Hunter Nemechek and I think Kevin Harvick. Let's see here. Scrolling through, 143. John Hunter Nemechek, Noah Gragson, and Tyler Riddick by Steven at DFS NASCAR. I tried to get someone on and just wasn't able to line anything up from a schedule perspective, but that's all right. We'll get someone on next week, perhaps. So let's run down the top 10. In first with 1152 is Justin Hughes. Right behind in second with 1144 is Kristen Hagelin. Something tells me one of those two are battling it out for a trophy. Trophy hunting as the theme with Kaulig Racing this evening. In third place with 1075 is Tony Salt. In fourth with 1070 is Jason Dickus. In fifth with 1058 is Aaron Studwell. In sixth with 1052 is Ray Caballo. In seventh with 1051 is Henry Fletcher. In eighth with 1047 is Michael Mason. In ninth with 1043 is John Warrington. And wrapping out the top 10 with 1041 is Alan Cavana. All right, bonus points. Kristen is kicking ass with 11 bonus points. Jason Dickus is in second with 7. Eric McCollum, Kim James, Scott Boyes, Tony LeBay all have 6. And then Brad Carnes, myself, David James, Henry Fletcher, Justin Hughes, Kevin Hahn, Mark Luddington, Matt Crowd, Blind Spot Podcast, Ray Corbello, Robert Riggs, and Scott Wagner all have 5. So if I could actually get my way into the 16th spot at minimum, I might be able to have some bonus points carried. So there's a reset. Let's make some picks. All right, last week of segment 1, we're crowning a winner. After this week, we're headed to Kansas with the Cup and Truck Series. 2 drivers that both had horrible weeks this past week at Darlington, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, will both be looking for a rebound. And they also just happen to be our last 2 winners at Kansas. Question is, do you have them left to pick? If you don't have too many options available, you might want to look at Austin Dillon. He's got back-to-back top 10s at Kansas. So if you're thin on who you can pick, you might be looking at the number 3 of Austin Dillon. Do we pick up our 11th different winner this year? Who will be the first trophy winner in the 2022 Live Traffic Fantasy League? We will find out this weekend. But first, it is time for my picks. The Truck Series, I am going to double down. And I'm going right back to the well with the 4 of John Hunter Nemechek. And I am torn between Kevin Harvick, Alex Bowman, and Tyler Riddick. Those are the 3 big dogs that I got left. And you know what? The hell with it. He had some speed this week, came from the back to the front. Let's double down on the 4s, the 4 for the Truck Series and the 4 for the Cup Series. There you have it. That is my pick. Let's see what happens this week. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, that is going to do it for episode 278 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. Make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. Huge thanks to Brian Neudorff, AJ Allmendinger, Daniel Hemrick, and Justin Haley for calling in. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Make sure you tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!